Welcome to the mindless musings of friends while two of us play Stardew Valley.
Since we're on the topic of video games, something occurred to me. I was watching some YouTube videos that somebody did of other endings of Detroit Become Human that I hadn't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I didn't play enough years to get all of the endings. So
Carl, you beat it in a week.
It took a
Yeah, you
couple
beat
weeks,
it like
I think.
3 times in a month, pretty much.
It's not a very long game. You can beat that thing in...
Yeah, it's like...
It's long enough.
I mean, I recently replayed it and I beat it in a week.
Anyway, my point is not to make fun of me for how often I have or have not beaten it.
I'm
But
not
there's
making
so
fun.
many.
It's just like it's a considerable amount of time.
Yeah, it's just that there's so many different endings that, and there's so many requirements to get all the different ones.
Mm-hmm.
That just to me makes it a little bit too difficult to worry about. Okay, so something was brought up in one of the videos, and it was in one of the videos where Connor chose to kill the Chloe at Kamsky, and it's like the Kamsky ending.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently if Connor does kill the Chloe, one of the questions he can ask, because he only gets one question, is about who or what is RA9. Remember that? Because all the awakened androids were writing RA9
Yeah,
everywhere.
that's
Yeah.
So who or what is RA9? And he's like, oh, it was the first android to awaken. It might be real, it might not. It might be something they just made up to be some kind of god for themselves. Okay. Now, my mind goes various places. Now, remember when I first started, I told y'all that I suspected Alice was an android.
Yes.
But she never, from the beginning, had her little light circle thing in her temple.
True, but they are removable. It gets established later on.
Yes, they are removable, but why would this one little girl android not have it?
Her father wanted the illusion that she was his real daughter.
Maybe he's too cracked out to care. I mean, it's possible that he beat it off of her in one of the beatings. However, she was always aware. She always came off as a real girl. Although I had my suspicions. Okay, so there's a whole thing about her not having the little what is it that the little glowy circle thing? What are they called? I don't remember. Anyway, she doesn't have that. And then it's like everybody she comes in contact with seemed to awaken. Kara did. Luther did. I'm not saying that she has to come in contact for, other androids to awaken. But androids she comes in contact with awaken. They cite, like Luther said, I was just obeying, but when I saw the little one put her life on the line for you, it woke me up. And he's not the only one to have been so affected by Alice. I think Alice is RA9.
But how'll she end up in the hands of a drunken idiot like, what was his name, Hank or something?
Todd. Hank was the one played by Clancy Brown.
There we go.
He is fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Because Clancy Brown's awesome.
Plus he has a dog.
He has a Saint Bernard. Wonderful dogs. I just can't deal with the drool. Way too much drool. And they're so long-haired. And they're not dogs that can be kept like where I live. It's just way too hot here in the summer. But anyway, No, just because she's in the hands of that idiot doesn't mean that she's not awakened. She probably wasn't awakened yet when she got put in his hands. We don't know how long she's been living with him.
True, but how would other androids know of her existence, though?
Because they're all interlinked. Remember how they can talk like telepathically from distances?
It's possible.
So
Within
they
certain
are
central-
aware that one is awakened. And they talk about RA9 will bring us all together. Alice tends to bring others together. I mean, the whole time Kara's got Allison trying to get her to the border. We've got the Jerrys risking themselves for her. We've got Luther risking himself for her. She's special.
So there's two actual things. One is you don't own the game disc, do you? You don't have the physical disc.
Mm-mm. It was
So
the free
RA9.
download.
Okay, so RA9 is actually explicitly printed on the game disc. Like this game was spoiled for a lot of people before they even realized it on the actual physical media for it.
So the players RA9?
We don't know.
It's
second-
probably what they were trying to get across.
Could be. The second one is there's the biggest theory of the game is that RA9 means real Alice 9. Because it was a designation for recreation of Alice, you know, as a kid.
Uh-huh.
For the girl's age. Like her original creation code.
She's supposed to be 9 years old.
Yeah. But that's like the biggest theory, and then pretty much like everybody agrees on the same thing, like it could be Alice, but the thing is RA9 is rooted in such theory and like spirituality in that game, it could be anyone. Like even Kamsky himself could be the actual, you know, RA9 creator. Or it could be Cyberlife, who created it as like a software thing to keep androids having hope.
Silicon Heaven.
Yeah, Silicon Heaven, essentially. Yeah, same thing. Only this one.
Silly.
Yeah, where
Where
would
do you
all
think
the
calculators go?
Gosh. But instead of like Silicon Heaven, in this case, it's a case of free will. Somebody actually did make it. You know, so keep the dream alive.
I noticed when I replayed the game, they give me a new Chloe when I'm about halfway through the game. Only this one doesn't obtain sentience at the end of the game.
I never got a new Chloe. I was asked if I wanted a new one, and I said no.
I was going to say, like, when you beat your game, did the lady on the menu just walk away?
I gave her freedom, yes.
Yeah, I gave her freedom too.
Yeah. Why can't it be like Nier Automata? Erase your memory, start from scratch.
But then the company offered me halfway through the game, do I want a new one? And I said, why not? And the new one doesn't obtain sentience after you beat the game.
Yo, you drove your game to sentience and she left you. You drove your household appliance to sentience. Nice going, bud.
Got a new one.
It got better.
Toaster is just another word for a laser death machine.
What's your whole take on the Geth thing in Mass Effect? Because that's essentially what robots becoming sentient are.
They are thousands of little tiny voices together to create a Gestalt consciousness, though.
But they're essentially what happens if your Siri suddenly became alive.
No, they're a little innocent version of Dark City's strangers. That's really what they are.
Like, I was talking to a guy online a while back who, like, definitely defended the Quarians for what they did. I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit more gray than that. Like, he's like, no, it isn't. It was basically their series coming to life, and they freaked out and tried to kill them all.
Yeah, but that's from the perspective.
Yeah.
From the Geth perspective, it's like, woohoo, we've achieved childhood. Wait, Mom wants to kill us?
Yes, it is. Basically, they created a new life form, albeit by accident, and very stupidly weren't aware of that and freaked out.
You know what I like to think? I like to think in every sci-fi story, there's that one guy in the crowd. You know, the one guy in the crowd that, when, hey, they could be innocent, they couldn't be, they couldn't have done the thing that they did. The one guy in the crowd that's like, burn the witch! You know, that guy? That guy is in, like, every single science fiction property.
Oh, yeah.
He's, like,
She
in
turned me
crawling
into
somewhere.
a newt.
Yeah, we gotta do the
that
witch
guy.
test.
I go back.
Does she weigh more than the duck? We'll find out.
Like, Carol, have you ever seen that Stargate episode where Richard Dean Anderson goes crazy about that kind of character? Because there's like an episode of Stargate where they're trying to hang one of Daniel's friends, and he's like a horrific lizard man, but he's completely innocent. And when Richard Dean Anderson hears the one guy again for the second time in the crowd, burn the horrific monstrosity, it's God's creation gone wrong. Dean Anderson gets his P90 machine gun out and says, oh, for the love of God, there's always one of you guys in the crowd. Where is he? Where is he? And he like starts gunning him down.
I mean, he's not wrong. We see that all the time.
There's always one. He's just that character.
She turned me into a newt. A newt?
I'm shocked how long that guy lived in Train to Busan. You know, the guy who basically screwed them over the entire film.
Oh, the businessman.
You need a focus to hate so long.
We have zombies, though.
No, the zombies are just a symptom.
Yeah.
As relentless and horrific zombies are, remember, they're only innocent. They're innocent victims.
So you're saying what you're saying is we need a Negan with a baseball bat.
Okay. Here's a great
Basically.
example. Okay, here's a great example. We just recently watched this. Okay, Train to Busan. What was more horrific? Which one did you hate more, the zombies or the business guy?
Oh, the business guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Right now, absence of zombies completely. Wilford was the same thing in Snowpiercer.
Yes,
Like
but
a
he's only at the end.
Truly evil, but a truly evil, cowardly, horrific piece of crap will always be more worse than any existential threat that is simply a force of nature because it doesn't have an identity.
True, the
You just gotta
zombies
stay away
really
from-
are kind of a force of nature, kind of like Godzilla.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I just
they're
kind of
not
hate that big
natural.
guy. I really like him.
They're not actually natural. They are the result of nature getting pissed off at man screwed around.
With Wilford and our businessman from Korea, they do have a difference though, because they're actual characters. They're real antagonists as opposed to the zombies, which are, like you mentioned, a force of nature, a horrific force of nature that is the cause of the majority of the conflict. Kind of like how the blizzard outside or the eternal winter existed in Train to Busan. It was always there, but it was never the focal threat.
The blizzard is a zombie. Same usage.
Which it turns out in the end was complete bullshit because apparently you can live out there.
Wow, it's a slight ray of hope. It's the whole point of the ending.
Well, we didn't see them years later, did we? We just saw them go out there for the first time.
You just see a polar bear, and it's indicative enough that life is able to survive outside in that cold.
And
So-
Kieran,
Polar bear can. That doesn't mean people can.
well, Kieran, you mentioned the fact that when they were passing by the 7 people who jumped off the train or whatever they were called, that when they did that, you only spotted 5 people frozen, not 7.
Yeah, from what I could see.
Yeah, so implying that 2 of them may have made it.
We should watch Alive sometime. Well, #Alive. It's a Korean. It's also Okay, you know how in Train to Busan, it's not so much really a zombie movie. It is more of a character study. It's one man's growth
Oh yeah,
to becoming
redemption
a
in a way.
decent human being. Well, that's very similar to how Alive is. It's about the person that you see left. And you've got to assume there's others. You know, he's not going to be the only one in the entire world, although he will feel like that for a long time. I mean, it is very isolating. He is scared, and his family's God only knows where, doing, you know, he doesn't know how they're doing. And he doesn't even know if they're still alive. You know. So it's more about him, his boredom, how he's dealing with it, than what's going on around him. It may as well kind of be like somebody stuck in a cabin during a blizzard. Because, you know, go outside and the cold will kill you, or go outside and the zombies will kill you, you know. Basically, you have to stay inside. You're screwed. Good movie, though.
I gotta look another zombie movie up from Korea. Jay on Red Letter Media mentioned it. He said it was like one of the most unique takes on zombie movies ever, but do not look up anything about it. He just mentioned that it's the first half is shot like a found footage movie, and something happens in the second half that completely changes the entire dynamic of the film.
Do you remember the name of it?
It was in their recap for 2019. I'll look it up later.
I mean, you technically spoiled the twist already by like saying what the movie's about. Nice going, nice going, but
Zombies.
You mentioned the Z word though, and it's kind of like demeaning the entire experience without even knowing anything about it now.
The Korean horror tends to be better at stuff like that than American horror anymore. A lot of American horror sucks now.
Well, that's because American horror is like designed to make money, and they just go about it the really wrong way. Like, hey, we gotta have an action sequence in this. Hey, people are getting too scared. We can't show that. That's too graphic. But little, sensitive types will not like that. Hey, we can't have silence in this suspenseful, tense scene. We have to have rock music.
Yeah, some music that doesn't even fit the situation.
What's that? Nobody wants to direct this? Oh, we'll get Rob Zombie to do it. He's, it's like that.
He'll take the job. He'll do anything.
Probably
he'll direct this movie. He'll direct anything.
Probably
it's so intentionally a corporate product.
Probably the last decent American horror film, in my opinion, is it A Quiet Place? I believe the name, the one where if you speak anything, the monsters will kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, that just that lacked certain logic.
All horror movies do. It's all about suspension of disbelief.
Okay, one of my issues was except for Kieran because he doesn't watch stuff like that. Have y'all both watched it? The Quiet Place?
Yeah, I have seen it, yeah.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater.
Yeah, he started years ahead of time, man. Go on.
Okay, so there's that one scene where the dad takes the remaining son and they go to the waterfall. And of course, a waterfall is super loud. There's thousands upon thousands of gallons of water crashing over a cliff. And it's noisy. And he's like, hey, we can talk here. You can even scream. You can do whatever you want. They can't hear you over the waterfall. Mm-hmm. And they will stay away from the waterfall because it's so noisy there.
God, it's so hard to resist the fucking comments.
I know what you're getting at.
I'm like...
So why aren't they living at the waterfall is what you're saying?
No. I'm saying when these things first invaded, why didn't everybody crank up their fucking stereos?
Because what happens when the power goes off?
What happens when,
When
the
they-
waterfall runs out?
When they
Exactly.
first when they first show up and it's discovered that they're going after things that make noise, but things that are too noisy they stay away from. Apparently they don't like noise because they're trying to stop things that make noise. Just make so much noise that they won't want to stay on your planet.
Hey, Dad, why don't we, live near the waterfall then? It's too wet, son. We can't do that.
Was it established that they were aliens?
Honey,
Yeah.
independent thought alarm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was established they were aliens.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
It's like that moment in Predator, isn't it? How it should have ended. Ah, don't pick up your gun. There's no sport in it. Wait, if that thing's killing us because we're armed, what the hell are we doing?
He's right.
That's a very good question, yeah.
Just drop all your guns.
If it bleeds, we can kill it. Oh, that Predator musical really has to happen one of these days.
Stop shaving, you don't have a beard.
Carol, they made Rocky into a musical. Anything's possible.
I don't even want to know why someone would think that was a good idea.
There's musicals for all sorts of things. They made a musical for the Addams Family. They made one for Dracula.
If those I can actually see working.
Which one? Addams Family or Dracula?
Both.
They made one for Legally Blonde also, which was really good.
Never saw that.
Wicked was phenomenal. Hairspray was always a musical. I'm trying to think of other ones. Mary Poppins was always one.
Well, the books weren't.
Yeah, but Disney made a movie that was a musical, decades and decades ago. When's that film from? The 60s or before?
60s, yeah.
That was one of the worst musical experiences of my life. For some stupid reason, a kid was crying, and they basically had to shove him out of the theater in the middle of the play.
You ever heard that theory, by the way? If you watch Infinity War again, it's a completely different experience now.
I mean, I've seen it like 3 times.
No, but watch Infinity War after Endgame.
Oh, eh.
There's so much foreshadowing in the first half hour of the movie, it's kind of insane.
Not time travel, though.
No, apparently so.
No, they bullshit that like crazy.
Well, what I read earlier, today, was this whole sequence where Tony is talking to Pepper after, their engagement, and he's talking about dreams that are coming true, and, he's having dreams all the time about a life that he could be living right now, including, naming his daughter. That's where the
Alright.
Morgan name comes out with originally.
Okay, that I like. That I like.
There's tons and tons of foreshadowing.
I really don't like Endgame because they created a time travel system that lets you pollute the timeline without any consequence. That was a mistake.
Yeah, did anybody go back and stick the stones in different realities? And we need a random select like the wheel. We could just stick 7 DVDs of VHS names in there, and we could just select one from the 7 on that night in a RNG kind of spin.
I don't think I like that idea.
I know, yeah, it could lead to some serious suffering, couldn't it?
Well, there are more musicals out there.
They're also making Wicked into a movie, so look forward to that in a year.
Okay, isn't Wicked supposed to be boring and really depressing?
The book is. The movie,
Oh, right, okay.
not so much. The play, not so
Well, we
much.
watching Monster Hunter anyway.
Yeah, we'll be watching Monster Hunter.
Yeah. That's what we want to watch.
Monster
Okay, that's what I want.
It's your pick next time, so
I know. So it's going to be between Monster Hunter or the Bone Collector.
I was about to say the Monster Hunter or Denzel.
Literally cannot lose
Yes.
that night.
Yes, it's either going to be, hey guys, isn't my wife hot? Or it's going to be Denzel. And you can't really go wrong with Denzel.
All right, Mila Jovovich, is that how you pronounce her name?
Jovovich.
Jovovich. Has she been in anything good?
Fifth Element.
I'm surprised you like that movie because I know you don't like Chris Tucker.
She was in The Fifth Element. That was. I mean, she's a good actress. That's the thing.
Yeah, she's not awful. That's the problem.
It's just the husband.
No,
The husband is the issue.
He's the hack.
Well, the problem does kind of fault on her because she picks bad movies to be a part of. Like, say what you want about Arnold's acting. He's not that great, but he is very good at the movies he picks to be in when he's offered a role.
Get to the chopper.
Okay, I don't think so. I think that's just his natural charisma. Like he's just a naturally charismatic kind of like guy.
I agree.
That
He's-
he is.
I agree. He is very charismatic.
I mean, I totally agree. Like he's a terrible, terrible actor, and like he doesn't fit certain things. But it's like Christopher Walken and Al Pacino. You don't hire them to play characters. You hire them to play themselves. You know?
I'm just saying, like Arnold, for anything you want to say about him, you're right. He is very charismatic. He is very good at picking roles to play off of his strengths. Is all I'm saying.
Like, have you ever like figured to yourself, Joe, inside your head at some point or another, what these directors and like producers think? You know, especially when they're casting and the like behind the scenes, like say in Game of Thrones. Like, do you remember the Luna thing in Harry Potter?
I know of the character. I don't know anything involving the character.
Do you remember the
Wasn't
casting?
she the one whose dad published the tabloid?
Yeah, she was kind of crazy.
So I actually don't know too much about the character. The actual actress, the young girl who played her, Rowling was very, very specific that somebody from this part of the country, the UK, obviously, should not play this character. And everybody was like, oh no, that young girl was going to chew in for it. And Rowling eventually went to the side and said, like, no, this girl, because she has this accent. That's exactly the way I, thought of her inside my mind. Now, think like all those people who made movies like Predator, McTiernan, The Terminator, Cameron, and did they originally envision Arnie for those roles?
No.
Yeah,
Not for the original Terminator.
Like, think about like how different of a movie Predator might have been if like Schwarzenegger never got that role and it was somebody else completely.
Well,
Like-
I think
It's just his acting, his charisma just overtakes the character completely.
well, we've talked about this before. James Cameron's original vision for a Terminator was to have Lance Henriksen play the Predator, because the
The
whole
Terminator, yeah.
Terminator. I'm sorry. The whole gimmick was the Terminator was a robot that could blend in very easily into a crowd and kill somebody because he looked like an average person. Arnold Schwarzenegger, very much so, does not look like a normal person. He is a Spartan of a man,
He's
and
like
He's a hulking mass.
he's a hulking mass of ham and beef.
so the entire premise of the Terminator kind of had to like be completely reworked when he cast him instead.
I mean, Robert Patrick makes it like a million times better. Like he's more ideal for the character, isn't he?
Robert Patrick is kind of like James Cameron going back to his original concept for the Terminator.
Well, the T-1000 is freaking horrifying. Like it's actually like a terrifying movie monster because they use it incredibly well in that movie.
Yes, they do.
And it's just a person. That's the thing. It's not like this towering mountain of beef. It's just a guy.
It's just a guy, but he can be anything, and as a result, literally anything could kill you.
You ever heard of somebody? Was it But Karen, what did you say to me ages ago? You know, hear somebody drinking too much water or something, dying of too much oxygen.
Huh?
Literally anything can kill you.
Yeah.
You can die if you drink too much water too quickly.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I said.
there is
Everybody
such a thing as
who's-
water poisoning.
Everybody who ever drank dihydrogen monoxide has died.
Blowing my mind.
Here's an interesting myth that got busted a while ago. You can't hold your own breath and die or pass out. Like if you basically hold your breath, your body will eventually force the airways open.
It is possible to hold your own breath until you pass out, but at that point, it's part of your autonomic system, and breathing will resume.
Yeah.
Okay. Now take that into account and explain Blitzball.
I mean, you can't hold your own breath until you die because you will just pass out. At that point, you will stop holding your breath.
FF10 is full of crap.
Oh,
By the way, notice
it
they never.
was.
By the way, notice they never bring back Blitzball for 10-2.
They did.
Oh, they did. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was Blitzball Management Simulator bullshit, but it was on there. That was crap.
Not as good as the first one because I didn't like the first one.
Mm. Oh no, it's like 10 times worse. I mean,
I hate it.
it's literally the difference between, say, like FIFA or like Football Manager. I mean, yeah, sure, it's based around the same fucking sport, but one is somehow even more pathetic.
Wait, are you saying 10-2 did something wrong?
As
No.
much shit as some people give 10 to, is it at least like battle wise and whatnot, it was pretty good.
It was
It
fun.
holds
The
up.
ATB thing is like really, really fun in 10-2.
I'll
Yeah,
give
it's
the
actually got one of the better battle systems of the games.
I'll give the combat its due, but only 3 playable characters.
I mean, dress fairs, buddy.
I know.
Only 3 playable characters. Yeah, fucking quality over quantity for a start.
I like having
Nocturne.
Hmm.
I like being able to switch it up with my video games. Like when I play Mass Effect, I'll especially the second one. I'll go on an adventure with Garrus and Miranda one time, and then I'll take Jack and Thane another time.
I mean, I might just do that with like this new trilogy. Like, I'll just play with characters I never used before,
Oh, I
Except-
always switched it up, except for the third one.
except for Ketchy. Ketchy can always stay on the bench.
I hated the cast of Mass Effect 3, so I basically only used I'm trying to think, Garrus and Liara most of the time.
Like one day I'll use Ketchy, but that'll be a cold day in hell.
Mm. I will never stop judging you if you do.
As if you stop judging him now.
No, it's fair.
Okay. Who used Ketchy in the party?
I did when he was working
someone.
in the party.
Because Ketchy is supposed to be better than Vincent.
Not exactly hard.
Yeah, not exactly hard, but Ketchy is better than Vincent.
If you go by stats, naturally, I think he's supposed to be the like best magic user, which actually does make him a pretty useful party member to have in.
But I always hated him.
Yeah.
Your limit break takes your control away from your character.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I hate that.
Yeah,
like-
Vincent's limit break sucked. It looks
Doesn't-
neat.
Vincent's whole thing is like,
Kinda
is he dead yet? Did he go down? Can I revive him? And he's normal.
See, they could easily fix Vincent's limit break if they just made the fucking creature controllable.
Oh, did you imagine that? Like the remake version of Vincent, if your limit breaks, you lose control of him.
Or at the very least, make it only a one-turn thing. Like, have him go back to being normal Vincent after whatever the hell he turns into does one attack.
Yeah, all that.
That
Do
would
you-
make more sense.
They seem to have nailed it with Yuffie, because like Yuffie looks really fun to play as in the remake, from what we've seen in the trailer.
You know, I'm still not even fucking bothered watching that.
She looks great. It's like playing as Yuffie, but in a Nier Automata kind of like environment. You know, the first fight of the game in the Cockpit Factory.
Mm.
Yeah, looks just like that.
I mean, I can see how Yuffie would be a character who'd be good to play as.
Yeah, and they've even created like a secondary character that follows her around in this like little subplot. And the whole point of this guy is like he's launching her using his stick. Because she's a ninja. I mean, she's got to be flying through the air all the time. It's like a Chrono Trigger, you know, with like the dual attacks and combos and like team play.
I think I liked playing as everybody in the remake.
Yeah.
So who's looking forward to playable Ketchy in the fucking second one?
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
It could be good. You never know.
All right, let's talk about
To be
Ketchy.
fair,
Go on, Karen.
with like the possibilities they could sort of throw and like really double down on that kind of like gambler class. It could be interesting if they really tried to work that.
You're obsessed with the gambler. Like,
What? I'm just saying it could be.
there's a reason there's no gambler in 14. It's
Look,
incredibly
I'm just
inconsistent.
RNG mechanics can be fun.
They
They can be
can't.
fucking infuriating too, but
Karen,
Yeah.
do you really want to say that after we went through a couple years ago with Phyllis Claptrap?
I'm just saying they can be. I'm just like I said they can also be infuriating too.
I've never seen you more angry than when we played that game.
Yeah, that's because Phil was the liability. I'd be at a vending machine selling off weapons, armor, whatever, you know.
I mean, okay,
Not
it could,
armor, but you know what I mean.
But it
Weapons,
couldn't
shield,
kill you.
grenade things.
it-
And all of a
it couldn't
sudden,
kill you.
toward Fiesta.
It very much could kill us, Phil, because it did.
no, it didn't. It didn't.
Yeah, one
take,
talk Fiesta, and two there was that one that just had you constantly bouncing, which you did many
Well,
many
but don't you-
times when we were right by a fucking ledge.
oh, did it make you bounce as well? Great.